Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and today I'm going to start tackling some of the rust removal. Okay guys, so I know a few of you are waiting to see what I'm going to do about trying to diagnose my problems with my warm start issues and things like that. Well, I'm still waiting on bits and pieces. I'm going to go through and give the whole thing a full service. And I've driven a little bit since then, and it hasn't done it to me again. So it seems to start up okay, and it's been reasonably reliable so far, but it needs a full service. But that's going to come in another episode just once I get all the parts in. So today, let's look at this rust. All right, so the first part I'm going to tackle is this area down the bottom of the A-pillar down here. And the previous owner actually gave me a repair panel he had already for it. So first things first is to strip this all back, and let's have a look at what we got. So the body of the car here doesn't look too bad. There's a bit of dirt and junk on it, but it's not actually in too bad a condition. That's actually not too bad there. Could use a little bit of panel beating to try and make it neat. But this looks like it's seen better days. I think new running boards is probably on the list, as I don't really see it being worth repairing these. They're just too far gone. There's just multiple layers of rust along the edge where it joins on. So that's something I can sort out later. But for now, we need to get in here and see what we got. All right, time to have a little bit look deeper into what we're dealing with in this corner. So somehow some water's been collecting down the bottom of this A-pillar, and it's eaten away the side of this heater tube here, and down in here this was all covered in tar. They've just sort of wedged things in the holes and just covered it up. Haven't really fixed it. Somebody's tried to weld in another piece here that they didn't really do a very good job of, and there's other pieces here. What I'm going to do is strip it all back. I've already got rid of one wire that wasn't connected to anything, but these are a couple of wires going to the speakers in the rear, so I'll get them out of the way. And I'll have a look at this. I assume this is probably the power cable that comes from the battery to the front of the car for all the accessories. So I'll have to watch out for that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get through and just try and tidy up all this junk here, all these years and years of layered mess, and then I can look at making up some repair panels. Okay, so you can sort of see the extent of the damage here. So I've actually checked underneath, and the floor is good. The base of the car is good, but the side is not. So this here all needs to come out. Basically what I plan on doing, hang on a sec, I'm going to mark it out. So I'm not sure how well the camera's picking it up, but I've drawn a line down here, along this edge here, and up here, and I'm going to replace that whole panel, and I'm going to make that out of some steel I've got here. And then I'm going to cut this area off here at the bottom and replace that bit, and that's the replacement panel I have. There is some issue with that's the inside of the wheel arch, and that's got a couple of bits down the bottom. It's obviously when they did this dodgy repair here, they did a little bit on the inside, but it's rusted out below where they repaired before. I'm going to cut out all of this dodgy repair and hopefully do it a little bit neater than it was. All right, we're starting to look better. So it's probably hard to see down here, but the floor is really good. The floor, there's light surface rust, nothing. There's nothing dangerous on the floor. I'll just give it a scrub back and a bit of a spray with some zinc primer and cover it all up. But you can see through here, they've actually done a repair. I'll show you on the other side. So you can see in there, you can see the repair they've done. This is inside the wheel arch, and you can see it's rusted through underneath. But that repair, they just sort of welded a patch over the top of what the rust was there. They didn't actually cut all the rust out and start again, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it all off and put a patch inside here. So I'm going to come back and yeah, I'll make sure it's all good on the inside. Then I'm going to repair this heater tube, and then we've got the repair panel for the bottom of this A-pillar here, and we'll put it all back on and hopefully get it all buttoned up today so we keep this car on the road, because this is a rolling resto, remember? This is not a long-term project. I've got to keep drumming that into my head. It's not a long-term project. It's just fixing up what's wrong. All right, as you can see here, I've got an octopus strap holding up this front guard, which I had to remove because of this. So you can see here that the rust has actually continued back all the way through to the mount that the front guard was on, so I had to get that out. I've got to get rid of all of this rust all through here. You can see there's a whole bunch of just soggy, rusty junk in there, so it's a matter of cleaning all of that out, and then I can replace it. I mean, it's solid metal here. That bottom bit there is not great, but yeah, I'll just see if I can trim out a bit more and keep going until I get rid of all of it. Growing bigger each second, but that's the way it goes, I suppose. Okay, so I've cleaned this all up now, and I'm pretty happy that I've got on top of the rust. It's back to solid metal all the way around. So now it's time to finally start putting it back together again. And that's where my CAD templates come in. A bit of cardboard aided design. So I'm just going to start cutting out some cardboard templates to work out exactly the size and pieces of sheet metal I need for in here, and then cut it out of sheet and weld it in. All right, I've got my first template ready to go, so I'm just going to mark it down onto my steel plate that I've got here and cut it out the angle grinder and then start welding it in. All right, so a little bit of grinding and trimming, and I've got a nice piece here. This is the first piece because this is part of the lower rail of the car, and then there's the this other piece here that's above it. I was just holding it on with some magnets. As you can see, I painted the back in a weld through primer. Now it's time to weld this into place and move on to the next bit. Okay, so you can see here, I've welded it all in. It's looking much nicer and neater, and I've just given it a quick coat of weld through primer so I can start getting stuck into making out the next template for the next repair panel. So this piece was a little bit more work, obviously a little bit more complicated. There's a couple of creases in here, which I you can see where I marked with my blue, and I just got them in the vise and hand folded them. There's nothing, it's not overly complicated, but it's just a matter of, make the cardboard template, hold it up against here, and if it doesn't touch in a certain area, I twist it one way, twist it back again until I get it right, keep trimming until it's right, and now I have quite a nice fitting piece that fits right up in here. So now I'm going to weld this one in, and then I can move on. All right, there's my repair. It's not the most beautiful thing in the world. Again, you can see the edges of some of my welds. I didn't get the pieces perfectly lined up, but I knew it was in the wheel arch and I wasn't super concerned about it. It's a lot better than it was, and there's no rust there anymore. So I am confident that that is going to last quite some time. But now I need to look at how to bolt my front guard back on, because I need to put in another riv nut, similar to what this factory one was, because this one was rusted out completely when I pulled it apart. So let's put a riv nut in and get this front guard back on. This week, I think I'll probably leave this running board off for now, but the car's all back together again. There's a couple of holes in it that aren't fixed yet, but they'll have to wait till next week because I've run out of time, so that must mean it's time for Fun Facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, during World War II, another very interesting vehicle to come out of Volkswagen was the Schwimmwagen, which translates literally to swimming car. The Schwimmwagen used a four-wheel drive version of the Beetle's engine, but used a new body tub structure as the flat floor pan of the Beetle wouldn't work as well in water. During water crossings, a screw-type propeller was lowered from the rear deck. As it was driven directly off the crankshaft, it could only go forward. If you needed to reverse, you could either use the supplied paddle or you could spin the wheels in reverse to assist. Over 15,500 Type 166 Schwimmwagens were produced, making it the most widely mass-produced amphibious vehicle in history. Unfortunately, only 189 are known to remain today.
All right, guys. I didn't get all of that rust repair finished today. It was took longer than I wanted, and actually while I was messing around, I've actually got the running board back on. So the car is back together. There's some holes inside under the carpet, but it'll do for next until I get back to it next time. So that's it for another week. As always, head down to the store in the description if you want to help the channel out and get some cool shirts or hoodies. I will get onto making up the new Volkswagen shirts in the next few days, hopefully, if I remember. And as always, please like and subscribe to Home Built by Jeff, and you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at the same place. See you guys.
Are you filming? He's doing a face stretch. I'm thinking, don't interrupt the process. To give it extra vroom. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Most mass-produced amphibious. Amphibious. Okay, yeah, thank you. Over.